So are there three of you in one room at Penn State right now?
Yeah, so it's pretty, even though it's laid out and it kind of looks nice, it's cold and it was raining. So I think a lot of folks who are here on campus decided to just stay in their nice warm apartments since they had the option. But yeah, I think there are 10 of the folks in classes. I think that's right. 10 of the folks who live here at State College. Well, who are going to school here at State College.
So have you guys traveled through JFK? Lately, I know Beth and everybody has, but if you haven't been to JFK, just it's a little bit bigger than Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Luckily, we were talking about that. Well, here, Fritz, why don't you go introduce yourself first, and then I'll go really quick, and then let's get into some of that kind of stuff, just some logistics and just some tips and anything anybody wants to share about what we should be thinking about in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm Fritz Kessler. I'm faculty in the geography department. I teach both online and in residence. My specialties are cartography, coordinate systems, map projections, datums, that kind of stuff. I grew up in a small town in Southeast Ohio, pretty much in Appalachia. I've traveled in Europe with Beth twice before. Germany, Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, France, Switzerland. So those are countries that I can claim I've stepped foot in. So looking forward to meeting and traveling with all of you in the very short term.
And similar to Fritz, I teach here in our online program. I am doing my first resident class this semester, and Dee Dee's in my class. So we got to overlap that way a little bit, but I mostly teach online. I've been at Penn State for 23 years, I think. I love to travel. I guess my place is in order of favorites. My husband was in the Peace Corps in Zambia, so I've been to Zambia a bunch of times, and I love it there. I've traveled a good bit over Europe, a lot of that with Fritz, but I have friends in Italy, friends in the Netherlands, kind of all over. I've been to Belize. I've been to Hong Kong for a conference, which was really cool. I'm sure I'm forgetting a few places, but I love to travel. So I have not been to 3 of the 4 countries that we're going to. So I'm glad that at least the majority of us will be seeing mostly new places. So very excited about that. So yeah, just to go back to what Todd said, I guess sort of thinking from departure, and then this is sort of a very informal discussion and just kind of talking about packing and any kinds of things like that we should be thinking about. But Todd mentioned JFK, and it's kind of hectic and not the easiest airport to fly out of, but usually that's getting there. So the majority of us here, we were saying at least the plan, or at least the idea is that it's going to be fairly stress-free, maybe, because we're getting picked up by a van in State College. And so I think 10 of us are going that way. So we're all getting picked up here at this building and getting a ride and getting dropped off at JFK with our bags right in front. So that sounds amazing. And that's how we're getting picked up at the end as well. So
what's that, like 5 hours? Is that a 5-hour ride?
It's probably about that. Yeah. I mean, it should be less, should be a little less. But yeah, with some traffic and
it's a pretty ride though. I did it last fall.
Okay. So I guess I shouldn't be jinxing us and saying it's stress-free, but it's about, at one point we were thinking of taking the megabus. So that would not be stress-free. It would be cheap, but getting from the megabus.
No, don't take the megabus. You'll regret it.
Yeah. So at least that's sort of the logistics of most of the undergraduate students. And then we obviously have some other undergraduates who are in the World Campus. So they're coming from their respective homes. All of our graduate students, same thing. To be honest, I didn't sort of tally up how many of the graduate students are on the same flight with the faculty and the undergraduate students. So I know at least 3 or 4 of you are arriving a day earlier. And then we have a student who's traveling from Singapore. Is anybody or any of you graduate students on that same flight that we're taking? I think at least a couple. No? Okay. So we'll probably just all be meeting, yeah, in Vienna on that Sunday, and some of you will be staying there Saturday night. Go ahead, Todd. Looks like you were gonna ask the question.
Yeah, what terminal is Vienna Airways out of? Because JetBlue is in Terminal 5, and but not that that matters. I'm going to be flying out of Terminal 5, but
I have not gotten that far yet, but figure it out. Brooklyn would be the most likely to know, probably. She's pretty organized, but do you know yet, Brooklyn?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I can Google that while you guys talk and get an answer for us.
2, 1.
I think
and
it
then-
was Terminal 1.
There you go. Terminal 1.
And then
That's what Google says, so.
you know, not that something that I wanted to mention, and only because it affects my wife on the way back, is that they're going to have the coronation on May 6th, I think, in London. And so there might be a lot of people at JFK that weekend going to London for the week, whatever. But just I don't know. It'd be interesting to find out from you guys, because I'm not going to be there. I'm actually coming back through New York, but on the 6th is when the coronation is. So there's going to be a lot of people traveling to the UK.
They all went by like the 5th. And then we won't
Yeah.
see any of them. Let's just let's hope they're planning ahead and getting there a little early.
Yeah.
I have a
So,
question.
yeah, go ahead.
So as far as getting there, I think my flight lands a few hours after yours. And I know that there's a tour scheduled in Vienna not too long after everybody gets settled. I don't know that I will get there in time for that or not. How do we coordinate? Like, is the management company picking us up for the airport, or are we just meeting together at the hotel? Or
Is one, yeah, there is sort of one big pickup when the majority of folks are getting there on that same flight to take to the hotel. But, you know, one of us can hang out there and meet anybody else who's coming. We can also set some, you know, maybe intermediate spots in that tour where we can meet up with you. Brooklyn has, probably a lot of people are familiar with WhatsApp, but Brooklyn likes the app Signal. If has used that, and so we're thinking of, I mean, you're obviously welcome to use WhatsApp as well, but we're going to ask everybody to download the app Signal onto their phones, and we'll have a group chat in there so that we can send out periodic things. Obviously, there's that World Strides app. It's great for itinerary stuff. And it does have like a group chat feature, but it doesn't have any sort of individual things where we can all make little subgroups or things like that. So probably Signal is what we'll want to, you know, stay in for the majority of it. But yeah, we can definitely, you know, maybe have a couple different meeting spots that day or something like that, so that we don't leave you behind. So you'll at least make some of the tour.
okay, sounds
Hey,
great.
I was
Yeah,
going to add something with the app, just for in case anyone is kind of wondering about like your phone. So I know my brother told me about Orange SIM. I think it's like a French company. So in case anyone is looking for a cheaper way to make sure you have like, if you want to have consistent service, like you can get by without it and just connect to Wi-Fi when you're somewhere with Wi-Fi. But at least in Germany and Austria. But yeah, so if you are interested in like a cheaper thing, then like I know Verizon, it's like $10 a day or something internationally, and this is like half the price. So you can do a physical or an eSIM. Just make sure you haven't bought a phone that's locked for like a new phone that's locked for like 60 days, because that happened to me. It was a waste of money. But other than that, you should be okay. And it's a good option for getting service out there.
Could I
Good
mention
advice.
something to the group regarding that? If you have T-Mobile for $30, you can have unlimited calling across world calling, $30, and then you get like a big data allowance in addition to unlimited texting. So that's $30 a month if you're a T-Mobile subscriber, and I'm not getting comped for that comment.
Definitely cheaper than Verizon.
But one thing, Beth, I wanted to mention is that I'm going to be in Vienna a couple days before, and if anybody needs to touch base or anything, they can reach out to me if that's helpful. I don't know if it would be, but
Great.
just throwing that up.
Sure, that sounds great. Yeah, and we can sort of, once we're all in that app, we'll make sure everybody's added within the next few days or something. And make sure that everybody's able to communicate that way, and you can send out a reminder that it's you that's going to be there a few days early, and if anybody else is. So that'd be great. And then along the same lines as what Brianna said, Fritz and I both have AT&T, and I don't think, which basically what Fritz has already done, and I'm going to go do, is just tell them which countries I'm going to be in, and it's $10 a day if you use it, which is the cool thing. So, as long as they know where you're going to be and they like sign you up for that plan or whatever, I don't know how to refer to it, but if you use it, they charge you the 10. If you don't use it, they don't charge you. So it's really nice, just in case. So that's,
Yeah. And on the AT&T plan, the maximum they'll charge you is for 10 days. So they won't charge you over. It's still probably more expensive than the Orange SIM card, but that's just something also too. It wouldn't go over that amount. Because I've used that as well on that plan. So that's a good tip. And then I wanted to mention, I think to Nikki's question too, I was thinking probably when we all land, I was thinking that as people land at different times, I'll make sure I have the Signal app, and then I'll like kind of stagger myself so that I can make sure that everybody can make their way to the hotel and drop off their bags. And then we'll link up with Beth and Fritz and get everybody together and things like that. So I'll just kind of be around to kind of help make sure everybody gets to where they need to get going, or if we need help with like taking money out of ATM, finding a SIM card place at the airport, whatever you need. I'll just be at the airport, at the hotel, and we'll just kind of coordinate and make sure you're squared away and link up with the group. So, and I do have a Signal group already created. So I can work with Beth and Fritz, and then, or you can email me on Canvas, and I can add you to the Signal group, or Beth and Fritz can also add you, and they'll also be administrators as well. So we can.
So is that called Signal Private Group Communication or something like that?
Create groups, or you guys can create separate groups, but if we all have.
oh, you're breaking up a little bit, Brooklyn.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's the Signal app.
Yeah. I just
But
didn't want you.
it's Signal private messenger, is that what
Yes.
that is?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also have a quick question about that, just the arrival time. I guess if there is a little bit of flexibility, because I'll be coming up from Ljubljana probably on the train that morning, which it'd be like a 5:30 a.m. train ride if I think I wanted to hit it right when y'all were getting back there. So if there's a time, yeah, if there's like an alternate time, because I wouldn't need to meet you at the airport, obviously I'd want to meet at the hotel or whatnot. So yeah,
And
knowing that
that
time would be better.
Sure, and that tour is optional, obviously, so yeah, I guess everybody should think of that Sunday as just sort of, I guess some people will be very tired. You can do as much of that tour as you want or as little as you want. There is a group dinner that night. Is that right, Brooklyn? It's Sunday night, right?
Yeah, that'll be like the first like big group dinner at the 7 Stern location with everyone. With Georg and a couple others, and then I'll make as well.
Okay, you're still breaking up a little bit, but I think we got the majority of what you said.
Sorry, my tell right now and my internet. I'm sorry for my internet. But I think we were talking about having like the big welcome dinner on Sunday with everyone, and then maybe like another one on Monday as well too.
Perfect. Does anybody want to share? Well, I guess the question, Brooklyn, you had mentioned going to an ATM when we get there. I know Fritz got some euros to take over. I mean, for folks who travel a lot, what would everybody suggest? Getting money at the ATM when we get there, taking some euros? Anybody?
Can I mention something? If you're gonna buy euros, a lot of the banks want you to give like a 2 or 3 day lead time, because they don't always have them on hand depending on where you're living.
Yeah.
Yeah, State College is a really small town. I ordered mine on a Wednesday. They had them there the next day. So it's going to vary depending upon the bank. The other thing to keep in mind too is Czech Republic is not part of the euro. They have their own currency, and
Really?
euros won't work in Czech Republic. So just keep that in mind.
I mean, in the past, when I've traveled, I almost just always use like a credit card. I mean, there's a little bit of a transaction fee or something, but to me, it's kind of nice just to not have to worry about cash. Yeah, it might be nice to have some cash, and it sounds like Brooklyn, do you normally just get yours right out of the ATM when you arrive, or so it's kind of everybody's preference.
That's
Just
what I
make sure.
did when I was there too. And like most places I was in, like Munich and Austria and Salzburg, yeah, like pretty much everywhere takes a credit card, but it'd still be good to have some cash because there's probably some small places that might not. And I brought a credit, like if you have a credit card that you're taking, try to take one that doesn't have foreign transaction fees.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
bring a debit card, unless I don't know of another way to get money, but bring a debit card in case you do need to get money out of a ATM. So you will have to pay a fee. So like, I guess maybe plan it so that you, and maybe someone else, like maybe this isn't recommended, but I was going to say, take enough out, like, a small amount just to have on hand. So you ideally only have to do it like once, I guess would be my recommendation, but obviously don't take a ton of money out and probably have it on you, but
Right.
So, hey, a question about that Signal. Do they have a group created yet? And if so, what's the name of it?
Yes,
Where-
I do have a
where-
group created already.
Yeah. It is.
I'll post it in the chat, and then I think I need to just have your phone number, then I can invite you.
Perfect. And we can do all of this in the coming days in Canvas as well. I did create a space. I haven't published it yet, but I think at least Todd saw it. I didn't realize people can see unpublished things, but Todd's teaching me all kinds of things about Canvas that I didn't know after working in it and how many decades. But I did create a group that the undergrads and grads are both in. So we'll probably use that for like some social media stuff, like just to kind of gather. I don't know. I'm sure there will be things where we're not going to want to be posting into separate classes each time. But yeah, that is one thing I want to mention before anybody has to leave, is just that obviously everybody's going to want to have lots of documentation of this trip of your own, pictures of your own. And I don't know if anybody in here in this room or on Zoom has, extra good photography skills or videography or anything like that. But I was thinking it would be a good idea. Obviously, everybody will be taking pictures and videos, but if anybody is particularly interested in doing it or particularly good at it, that it might be nice to, and in addition to Brooklyn, because I know she's going to do that too, but just to have some people who are thinking like not just selfies and trying to get some group shots in some of the places we're going, and some of our colleagues in Austria and things like that, just because I know Earth and Mineral Sciences is going to want a lot of that. I know our online program will want a lot of that. Earth and Mineral Sciences has a team who's going to want to write an article about this. They were suggesting, and I'm going to share this with you guys soon. Fritz and I met with them the other day, and they were even thinking like maybe a daily prompt where like at the end of the day, everybody sends, it won't be anything crazy, but just something that they could post to their social media and say, this is where the cause group is today, or what they did yesterday, or something like that. Just to kind of keep a running thing. And then that's nice for everybody to have afterwards as well. So yeah, you don't need to volunteer now, but if anybody does have the desire to sort of just kind of be thinking about that, and always keeping in mind trying to capture some shot. I just forget. I know that's what I've done in the past, is that I'll sort of forget like, oh, I wish I had gotten a shot of when we were at this particular place or something. So it'd be just good for a few of us to be thinking of that all the time. How about packing? Fritz, I changed my tune on this since you and I talked this morning, because I talked more to Anthony. So Anthony Robinson leads our program, and he's going to meet us he's going to be in Vienna and Salzburg with us, part of the time in Vienna and all of the time in Salzburg. And Fritz and I were telling these ladies that he has traveled to, we don't know how many countries, but it's a lot. And so he has, he's pretty much a professional traveler. And so we got some tips from him, and Fritz and I were going to say that everybody should try not to have to check a bag, but he said that's crazy. But I mean, you can do it with just taking on, like the smallish suitcase that you don't need to actually check. You can put it in the overhead. That saves having to go to baggage claim and things like that. So if you are really efficient and can do that, great. I actually might try to do that. But yes, we're not gonna say you can't check a bag, especially because you might want to bring stuff back. So that one thing Anthony said was sometimes what he'll do is if he does want to keep a small bag in the overhead, he'll put like a duffel or something in there. So if he does want to check a bag on the way home, so that kind of gives you some flexibility there. But yeah, but if you are going to check a bag, obviously try to pack light still. It is only 2 weeks. Think like Europeans where they have, a couple key outfits or whatever. You don't need to change your clothes for every single day. I have a feeling that at the university in Vienna, there might even be like a laundromat or something if anybody wanted to wash some of their clothes like Thursday night before we're about to travel for the second week. But yeah, I think maybe we'll start a chat or a discussion in Canvas just to make sure everybody's sort of on the same page. Anthony was saying, obviously, make sure you're not over the amount of, how many pounds your bag can be if you're checking a bag. So you want to check with the particular airline so that you don't have to pay extra. I don't know.
Can I
Any other?
comment about that, Beth?
Hold on one sec. Celia's going to say something.
No, I just have a question.
Oh, a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I saw in the World Strides thing that it said for a lot of the time, like business casual. And I was just wondering like the magnitude of like how long a day or like what you're expecting.
So Chris and I were talking about this today, and Chris is actually going to be giving a lecture at the University of Vienna. I mean, they just said it's nice, they're going to be, teaching to us. We're going to be like everybody's going to be sharing knowledge. And so Chris is going to share some of his research with them. And so he was like, do I pack a tie? Like how much of my suitcase do I take for, how dressy do I need to be? And we agreed, like, we do not need to be dressed up, like just nice, the nice, plain, like some plain colored dark t-shirts. Like, again, like think of Europeans, like we don't want to all look like Americans walking around with logo t-shirts and things like that. Certainly bring things you feel comfortable with, but yeah, I think if you have some comfortable things that are, it does not have to be very business-like or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like nice jeans or like.
Yeah, nice jeans, a nice pair of
Perfect.
pants, dark
Yeah.
some nice t-shirts or regular shirts. I think would be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So business casual for geography and GIS people. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and Sophia has a question real quick too, Todd, before you say what you're going to say.
Do you bringing like our laptops, like computers?
Yeah, I think if you can bring a laptop, you should. We are going to be working in groups. So if somebody does not have one or can't bring one for whatever reason, that's okay. We'll make do. But if you can bring one,
Okay.
yeah, I think that would be good.
Okay.
In particular,
I have a question.
Got it.
yeah.
What about like jeans? Like what kind of jeans? Like completely like nice jeans, or what are you thinking?
I would just say, I mean, picture yourself just, we're going to be visitors at this university, but we're going to be working with their students too. So just something that you feel looks appropriate. I mean, it could be, it doesn't have to be a super fancy pair of jeans, but maybe not with holes in them. I don't know, just a nice pair of jeans or pants. Yeah, I mean, use your best judgment. But yeah, I think like a nice pair of jeans is, and I don't mean nice, expensive or anything, just, yeah. Just a nice pair of jeans would be fine. Does that answer the question?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Todd. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say the European carriers tend to be much more strict with size and weight restrictions for your bag. So if you're gonna think that you're gonna roll a big roll-on that's bigger than you and try to stuff it in the overhead, they're gonna stick you for it.
Yeah.
They'll yeah, it's and
Yeah.
unless you got a second bag, yeah, it's not fun if you've ever experienced it.
The more I travel, the more I challenge myself to pack lighter and lighter each time. You'll just appreciate it so much more. Half the time, if I go to a conference, I only end up, I think, oh, I'll have a choice of outfits or something. And, yeah, and nobody's going to judge anybody if you wear something 2 or 3 times. So, and absolutely, we could try to find, if anybody needs a laundromat, we could find that. But I would say challenge yourself to pack as light as possible. Yeah, it's a good rule. What else? Fritz, what did you just, I can pull up the chat here. Sorry, there's lots of chat items that I'm missing.
Yeah, I've been trying to respond to some questions as they come up. One was about the laundry issue, which you addressed. The other was about do we get a free check bag? And that's part of, yeah, we everyone gets a free check bag. Yeah, I think those were the only other questions that I saw.
Yeah, the one thing that's a little bit of an unknown is the vehicles that we're going to have traveling from destination to destination. The first 2 times that Fritz and I did this, and then with Brooklyn, we had the same vehicle the whole time, which was really nice. But it also kind of just fit us. So I think we're going to have different vehicles probably each time, or from country to country. But sometimes it's going to be way bigger than we need, which will be nice. So we can spread out. So I guess that's a plus. And nobody has told us, we can only have so much luggage. I mean, they know that we're coming for 2 weeks. So I don't think that's an issue. I think they have plenty of space for bags and whatever. But I guess that's another thing just to kind of keep in mind when you're packing. It's not just getting from the US to there, or, getting to and from Vienna. It's getting from country to country as well. So as you're packing your stuff, think about what do you want to lug to the, to and from the hotels and things like that. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. Let's see here. Nick, you're asking about vaccines. No, I mean, anything, if we were, nope. World Strides would be telling us if there were any particular things. That's one nice thing. Not that we need to get into the logistics of this, but Penn State now requires programs that are studying abroad to go with a third-party vendor. And that's where World Strides came about, which is quite nice because they're doing a lot of the legwork with checking into all of that kind of thing. And, what's required for us, they're arranging some things within country, they're arranging some of these meals. So I think we can keep checking with them, but I think we're safe to assume that anything we haven't heard about yet is, there aren't going to be any surprises come up. So Nick, hopefully that answers your question.
It may be helpful if you would pack a mask just in case. From what I've been told through World Strides is that there's no COVID requirements right now, but there is a new strain of COVID that is circulating that's causing some concern with the World Health Organization. We never know when things are going to get dicey again, so it may just be to err on the side of caution to pack a mask so that you would have
Might
that
be sitting
handy.
next to a particularly sneezy person on the plane, and you don't want to get a cold or a flu either. So
Yeah.
that's probably just a good idea. That's a good point. Just in case.
Regarding that, Beth, in Barcelona last fall, you didn't have to wear a mask on the planes, but once you use the public transportation, they made you wear masks. So
yeah.
So
Yeah, it's just a good idea to have, a couple disposable ones or something, or a couple cloth ones that you want to use. Okay, so Brianna asks about working at the university. So yeah, we can talk about a little bit about this now. So roughly, we're gonna be there Monday through Thursday. Originally, we were thinking Monday through Friday, but we really want to kind of get to Ljubljana as quickly as possible, just to maximize our time there. So we're pretty much going to be working with the faculty and the students at that university. We'll meet the faculty Sunday evening at the group dinner, and then we'll be working with their students Monday through Thursday. And they're going to be showing us some of their labs, some of their virtual reality stuff, pretty much just any kind of geospatial stuff that they're working on at that university. And then, yes, we're going to tell all of you a lot more about sort of what the projects that we're thinking of working on. We're going to be working with COVID data. So we're going to be talking a lot more about that in the coming weeks, but those students also are going to sort of know the type of things. They're not going to be working on the same exact things, but they're sort of at the same point in their classes where we can sort of break up into groups and, you know, talk about data visualization, do some little mini projects together. But Fritz has been working pretty hard on the syllabus, or not the syllabus, the Canvas modules. And so we'll definitely release those soon. But yeah, we're roughly what that will look like is having some lectures. Like I said, Fritz is going to give a lecture. Somebody from their place will tell us what they're doing, visit some of their different labs, break out into groups to do various projects, be able to go and have lunch each day at a coffee shop or something. So kind of a mix of organized activities and then working on planned projects. So hopefully that answers enough, Brianna, that it will get more
So-
details.
And that, is there going to be much for like advanced work? I haven't looked too much at Canvas yet. I'm finishing up another class too. And so I'm just kind of like wondering, with only one weekend left, you know, just curious about that.
Like what you have to do in advance?
Yeah, like is there much
Oh.
like course material or anything? Okay.
No, so
you-
the yeah, go ahead. Fritz.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, no real advanced work when the course begins. That's when you can hit the ground running.
And that's what the undergraduate students, because they're coming from various different majors, we do have some geography majors, and so they probably have various backgrounds in GIS and everything, but because we have various majors across the earth and mineral sciences, they're in a Canvas space now where they're kind of doing some Tableau stuff, just some various GIS background knowledge, kind of getting up to speed. So everybody will have roughly the same background information going into it. I mean, certainly it'll vary greatly. Some people have programming experience, some people don't, and that kind of thing. But yeah, for the graduate students, there's nothing you'll need to do prior to going other than reading through this, you know, maybe the intro lesson or whatever that Fritz and I will reveal soon, and we'll reveal that to everybody.
Cool. Sounds good. And then I was also kind of wondering, do we know, like, are we visiting specific places? And I know it was kind of mentioned initially,
map.
like just, yeah, like the Central European Data Agency or whatnot. I was curious if we have specific.
So, yes. So in Vienna, we do have a couple organized things. One of which is, what's it called, Fritz? It's like the only globe museum in the world, apparently.
Yeah, it's the Globe Museum. Yeah.
Yeah, and just a couple various things in Vienna that they want to show us. And then Ljubljana and Munich, because we're only there for roughly a day, we're pretty much just going to go and sightsee and not have to be stuck in a meeting room somewhere watching somebody's PowerPoint. But in Salzburg, Anthony Robinson, like I said, he actually did his sabbatical there. So he is going to want to show us some things there. I don't know about a particular formal organization because it will be the weekend, but he'll definitely show us around there, show us some of the various universities and things. And then in Prague, we will be going to the surveying office one of the days. So that is, yeah, so there's a mixture of things, but there's also lots of free time in the travel week so that we're not just going from, we're not going to go from boring meeting to boring meeting or anything like that, or sitting in front of a PowerPoint, I guess, a lot. So do you need to go? Yeah. Yes. It was very good to meet you.
I was
Um,
going to ask, and maybe Fritz might know, for the visit to the surveying and cadastral agency, is that more of like a slacks kind of khakis situation as for dress code?
Yeah, I would suggest to err on the side of a bit more, yeah, a bit more dressier, I think.
Okay.
Because I have no idea what their what their etiquette is in regards to
Mhm.
that. So that might be a place to be a bit more conservative with your dress. Yeah.
What I
Okay.
would still say, I think it's probably safe that we have a mix, you know, if somebody's not taking something very dressy, I mean, they are gonna understand that most of the
Yeah.
people, students and, so yeah, I think,
I mean,
Yeah.
minus holy jeans or ripped t-shirts or, those kinds of things to avoid. Yeah.
yeah, I think as long as you, yeah, look presentable. However you might interpret that, but I don't think you need to be really dressy.
Perfect.
At the
Yep.
schools we visit, we'll be able to use their facilities. Do you mean, Todd, like, labs or bathrooms? Or what do you mean by facilities?
Well, I'd hope that we'd be able to use the bathrooms. That could be a problem. But no, like if they have, that could be problematic, right? But seriously though, like if they have a pool and, after flying over the pond and jet lagged, you might want to just like do a little bit of exercise at the end of the day or in the morning or something. It's a good way to,
We can ask, yeah,
Keep
we
the
can
stress
ask.
levels down.
I'm thinking their university is quite different than like what we're used to here at Penn State, where there would be that kind of thing, but we'll ask. I'm not sure. Yeah, but we can find out if there are any types of things that we can make use of.
Yeah, I'm a swimmer, so I'm partial to the pool types of things. So and
Sounds good. And then are there any other questions that have been unanswered? Does anybody else want to speak up and ask anything or?
I just wanted to say one thing, and hopefully my internet cooperates with me. One thing I wanted to say is while we're in Vienna, there's some structured things that I think will be really fun. And then I think we've kept a couple of open spaces that are a little bit unstructured and explore on your own. And one thing that we really enjoyed when I went on this trip a couple of years ago is that we had some time during our travel to kind of think about things we wanted to explore or see. So we made use of like Lonely Planet, like self-guided walking tours. So I've been doing a little bit of research on places to kind of walk through and see and learn about things together. So I'm more than happy to kind of lead some of those. And it sounds like for those of you that have already been to some of these places, you might have some ideas on some really great finds that you want to share with others. So if you have any ideas, you want to talk them out, put something together that we can host for the class, let me know and I can help support you and put that together. We also use like Airbnb experiences or cooking classes, those types of things, museums. We took like some short train rides when we were in the Netherlands last time. Just some kind of like hidden gems that we found. Some of us rented bikes and just biked around for an evening, went out to dinner. And so we typically spent the time as a group and we tried to stay together as a group as much as we could. But I understand, if they're like small breakout groups. So what worked really well is like sometimes we would split up and then meet up for dinner or be able to post where most of the group was, and then people could just join as they wanted to. So if there's something that, you see and you're like, I want to see this in Ljubljana while we're there, how can I make this happen? Let me know and we can talk about it and see if we can work it into our plans and come up with an idea to do that together. So I really like that there's lots of time for us to kind of come up with new ideas together to engage and find fun things to do. So please feel free to throw those out. If you have any thoughts or things you you want to do or explore. And Beth and Fritz are wonderful and super supportive, and we can look into it together.
Thanks, Brooklyn. I was gonna say, before you said Beth and Fritz are wonderful, I was gonna already say, can you guys tell why we picked Brooklyn to come with us? Like, she's fantastic, resourceful. And I was gonna say that before she said that nice thing, but Claire asked a great question. I would say comfortable shoes that you can hike or walk a lot in should be your number one pair of shoes. So do
No.
not worry. Yeah, go
So
ahead,
there,
Chris.
we have to paraphrase this once, Beth, because remember on our first trip, he took us on the swamp, back in the swamps, and we were covered with mud and mosquito bites.
Well, we're not gonna do that.
We're not gonna do that.
Yeah, we had ticks, and I think Brooklyn was.
Oh, it was nasty.
But yeah, in all seriousness though, like when we say business casual, what even your nicest outfit, whatever that is, even if that's a nice pair of like dark jeans or whatever, I would say you can wear hiking shoes, walking shoes, like a nice pair of tennis shoes, sneakers, whatever you call them. That should be your number one priority, I would say. Don't worry about dress shoes. Fritz was even saying he's going to wear his like tennis shoes for his lecture, right, Fritz? I mean, it's
yeah. I mean, that
a lot of space.
You have to understand that when I teach in person, I always wear a tie, a blazer. I mean, I dress the part as a professor, right? So giving a lecture in tennis shoes is going to be really, really odd for me. But
Yeah.
it saves me from having to bring a whole separate outfit just for a 40-minute talk, right?
Yeah, and shoes are so bulky, we're talking about packing light, so it's gonna be fine if you are, business casual or whatever, or again, your nicest outfit with a pair of sneakers, like that's okay. So definitely pack a pair of shoes that's very comfortable. You're not gonna get blisters. And I'm guessing in Salzburg, we're gonna do a lot of walking. Well, lots of places we're gonna do a lot of walking. So definitely comfort is key.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was kind of worried about fitting in when I went there last fall, and like everybody there is wearing tennis shoes too, so like it's totally fine with whatever you're wearing, and just absolutely bring comfortable shoes that you know for sure are comfy, and don't buy shoes a week before the trip and then find out they're not comfy and then your feet hurt the whole time.
Yeah,
Not
and
speaking
Erica says
from
put them in your
experience.
carry-on or wear them. Yeah, even wear them. I was thinking I'll wear my comfiest shoes on the plane so that I have them. But yeah, if you're not going to wear them on the plane, bring them in your carry-on. Yeah, and then Fritz is saying, medications, obviously all of these things. Pay attention to liquids. It sounds like everybody has done some traveling, so not to have like big containers of liquids in your bags and things like, or in your in your carry-on bags and things like that. You do not need a doctor's note, Clarissa, unless do you have like a very large bottle of something like a liquid or
No, I'm on multiple prescription medications and I just wasn't sure about because there are some things that say that I need like a special doctor's note with a reason for why I'm on them. And I just wasn't sure if that was actually necessary or if I just need like the original.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessary, at least not for our program. I know sometimes, but let's check with Bree, the World Strides person, because she's been a great resource. She's doing this kind of thing with lots of universities. So she will have that off the top of her head because I don't know off the top of my head, but yeah, we'll check with her.
So I have a question regarding that thought, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead, Todd.
So some countries in Europe, I've heard, unlike the US, I know Ireland, for example, they don't have as many over-the-counter drugs as you'd find in the US for things like indigestion or types of headaches or those kinds of things. Do we have access to some of the pharmacies? Should we get like a case of indigestion or something like that? Or we've got the flu symptoms and it's just a cold or something like that? What's the situation with that?
I will also check on that, but all of the past places we've gone, there are lots of little pharmacies along it. And actually I almost found the opposite. Like sometimes it seems like there's more things available just over the counter than here. Because when I was in Paris one time, I got pink eye. And I just walked in and they gave me something that I would have needed a prescription for here, and it works. It was great. So I think I'm fairly certain we have access to all of that, but I will also check on that side.
Okay, thank you.
And Bree has a contact in each, like, we basically have like a handler in each of the countries. So that's who she'll reach out to and just make sure that we'll be covered. Anybody else want to chime in? I know we're hitting on 9 o'clock, so we don't want to keep anybody too late. Anybody else want to chime in with anything? Does everybody feel like they've had their questions answered? If you don't, if you don't want to speak up right now, or if you think of something, the minute we hang up, which is likely, that's how I would do it. Definitely send an email. We'll start getting the Signal app going so we can start to have these chats within there. So if somebody has a tip that they want to share with everybody, we can kind of start to communicate in there. I'll get that Canvas space going that has everybody in it from both the undergrad and grad. So we'll be able to start communicating more. Is everybody good?
Oh, Beth, I have one other
yeah,
quick
go ahead,
question.
Yeah.
The bus transportation from city to city that we'll be doing, is it like a coach bus where the luggage can be stored kind of underneath the bus? Because I know when we did, like you mentioned last time, we had kind of like our van that we had the whole time. But is it kind of like a bus where luggage goes underneath and then we'll be up on top? Do you know that?
Yeah, I think it might vary, but I asked Bree to try to get us those details just so we can kind of prepare. I know, like, when we were talking to her the other day, she mentioned that like one of the vehicles will be like a 30 person and we have 23. So like, okay, we'll be a little tight, but one of them is going to be a 50 person. So, you almost don't even need to worry about putting the luggage wherever it needs to go. You could just sit it, put it in the seat next to you or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it's going to vary, but yeah, I'll try to see if we can get some more specifics. Before we get there.
All right. I have a list of questions to follow up with Bree about. So I'll send those to you and Fritz so we can go over those together and consolidate so we can get those answers back out to everyone.
That is
super. Yeah, and there's 2 good questions there. So Clarissa, that money that the undergrads are getting, that each of you are getting, the only thing I know is whatever I sent out to everybody where you have to do something to make it accessible. So if that information wasn't enough, email me and I'll get in touch with the Student Engagement Network to have them help you access that. I don't really know much beyond what they told me. So yeah, go back to that email I sent or whatever it was, an announcement or email, and see if you're able to. Celia, were you able to access it? Like,
I didn't try it yet, but
Okay.
I read your email and I pretty much know there's what is going on, I guess, like how to get to it, I think.
yeah,
but I haven't tried
it
it.
sounds like you go in and check something or enable something.
Yeah, you like, I don't know. I feel like it's something that the university's emailed me about before, like, oh, like enable this to get, I don't know, like refunds on whatever. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's super complicated, but I haven't tried it.
So let's try to figure that out this week, make sure everybody can get to it.
I've done that before and I've gotten refunds. It's not even showing up in my account at all. Like it's not
Okay.
like I don't have any evidence of it other than the email I got for you. That was why I was wondering.
Oh, good. Okay, so I will, Mike Seaman is the person who has been communicating a lot to me. So I will email him now and then just find out, has something not been, has there been like a final thing that they forgot to click a button or something? But yeah, I'll check on that for you. I'm glad you asked. And then, okay, so Claire is asking what time we leave. I think we are planning to, I was getting ready. I just was changing the location of it today. I think we're going to try to leave at noon on the 6th. So if everybody can get, if you're going on the van to JFK from here, from State College, we're going to meet at the Earth Engineering Science building right down here in the bus turnaround. And I think we were aiming for a noon departure, so yeah, 11:30, like something where we're not gonna have a late departure, so that's the goal there. And then Todd's asking for, there was an application, like a funds application for the graduate students that they told me they shared with all of you, and I hope that went to all of you, I don't know. And then what's the other question
So
here?
the answer is no.
See, they told me that every graduate student who's in this program were sent some sort of thing that you could apply for extra funds, but.
Oh, all right, no, I didn't, I thought that was like a little
Yeah.
beer fund or something for the just spending money walking around.
And then Danielle asked about getting billed for the cost. So Danielle, you're talking, everybody, pretty much everybody, the grads and the undergrads all have that $500 thing. I thought that the undergrads saw that already, but it sounds like that has not happened yet either. I know the grads, that's coming up, and then in the May, it's going to show up in their May bill, from what I'm being told. So I will check on that as well. I need to be taking notes. So I'm checking on the scholarship money for undergrads and the fees for grads and undergrads. And then what was the other thing I'm checking on? Yeah, the medications. Okay. I think I have it all down. So I'll get back to all of you on the questions I was not able to answer tonight.
Beth, could you, or I guess I can actually just look this up online, what that deadline for that payment will be, because I'll probably already be over in Europe by the time that bill comes. So
Oh, I don't think.
of course you
it'll
can
be-
just make the payment online, but
Yeah, and it's not going to be a quick turnaround. I'm sure you have, it's probably almost like a tuition bill where you have a while. I'll ask, but I don't think it's a real quick turnaround. Okay, so Brianna's asking about a larger suitcase.
It was more of just a curiosity thing if anyone has done the like one big travel backpack instead of a suitcase.
Right. And I know Matt, was it you who says you carry the backpack, or who was it who said they carry a backpack around?
Oh, back in the beginning, yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
My
But you're not
daily
talking
driver
about-
is like a 26 liter. GoRuck is the brand. So that's perfect for like under the seat in most airplanes. Yeah, like a 45 or something, or even like a 65, those should be fine as like carry-on size. I think it just depends on the dimensions, the pack's dimensions. So check on
Yep,
like Austrian
that was
Air's
the one I was,
website.
the one
Yeah.
Brooklyn mentioned is the one I was, I think, looking at, and it says it's carry-on, but it was more
Okay.
of just so like if anyone like has actually done it in
really
Europe
nice
and
because you can
likes it or
strap
not. So
Yeah, some of those are really nice because you can compress them, strap them
Yeah.
down, and then
Yep.
buy stuff, you can expand it. Yeah.
I figured it matters less on this trip because we're taking a bus. Like the reason I think I was thinking of it is I know when I went there we took like the train and stuff, and you just like not escalators, not elevators, so you're carrying up like a big checked bag, and yeah.
Right. Yeah, we definitely thought long and hard about, trying to use public transportation, and Fritz and I just thought it sounded like a nightmare, and we were so spoiled the first couple trips that, yeah, luckily we arranged it the way we did.
There might have been some running across the platform involved.
Yeah, getting 23 people to, on and off and many different, yeah, it sounds really nice to have a larger like coach or whatever it's going to be. Are there any other questions in there that I'm missing? Anyway, okay, well, let's go ahead and end it since it's 9:07, but thanks to everybody for coming. I did record this at some point after most people introduce themselves, but at least the logistics parts are captured for the folks who aren't here. But yeah, so Celia, thanks for coming in person. And thanks, nice to see all of you. And we'll be sending out lots more communications here in the coming days. And let us know if you have any other questions. Thanks, Brooklyn, for all of your offers of help and organization.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I'm really looking forward to traveling with you all. So We'll follow up, like I said, with some of the questions that we had. And in the meantime, if you guys think of anything else, I'll try to keep an eye on the Canvas chats as well, and also the Signal group. So thank you guys. Have a great night.
Hey, bye, everybody.
Bye.
Take care.